All right, and welcome into the Vegas Squares Podcast Picks and Chatter NFL edition. It is here Saturday night. We are in Las Vegas. It's 74 degrees, and the neon on the strip is humming. No? I was trying something new.
It could be. I mean,
there's a brawl on the Vegas Strip right now, too.
Yeah.
There's a mad Russian on the loose.
That might be more ruckus right now than the hum of the neons.
The hum of the neons. All right. Well,
are they even neon anymore? I have to imagine they've gone to like
is.
LED.
Flamingos are for sure.
Flamingos still neon?
Flamingos, yeah, they've been neon since 41.
Right, no, I get that, but the rest of the strip's got to be LED or some other kind
energy
of
saver bulbs.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, NV Energy's monopoly on electric. They probably have to save where they can. Absolutely. Anyways, well, with all that being said, we're glad you're still listening and you haven't turned the dial off just yet. Like I said, this is the Vegas Squares Podcast, Picks and Chatter NFL edition. We got a full house. Spike, Token Tony, and myself, Aaron, in studio. Here it is Saturday night. You're listening to this on 12-ounce radio Sunday morning, right before the NFL slate. And what an NFL slate it is, because I've been racking my brain for 3 days, and I've been analyzing these games, looking at them, studying the lines, and I don't feel 100% confident in my picks, but it's going to be an interesting week. There's some good games this week.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. There's some tough matchups as well as some great matchups as well. It'll be interesting to see what the outcome is this week. Got to pay for this new suit somehow, so hopefully I crush it with
God, he is jerking off in this suit. Oh, my God. Did you sleep in it last night?
No.
That's the third time you've, name-dropped this suit.
It's got my name on it.
Yeah, so. I'm serving that one up for you. Now, it's definitely some great games. Atlanta at Pittsburgh. You got Jacksonville at Kansas City. You got Green Bay and Detroit, a game that actually may mean something here for the first time in the NFC North for the last while. Minnesota and Philadelphia. I know that you guys may not agree with it, but LA and Seattle should be a good game as well. So just off the top, obviously, let's recap just for a second. Give Spike a chance to talk about his boys. 38-24. New England looks like a machine again.
Yeah, and this is exactly what I expected to happen. They always get off to a slow start. You know, they always have that rocky kind of, the offense needs to click, and especially with Brady missing pretty much all of the OTAs this summer, it took him that much longer to get the offense back involved. Obviously, missing Edelman hurt, getting Josh Gordon up to speed was difficult, but now the Patriots are who everybody thought they were going to be, and, you know, to paraphrase that idiot in Miami, the NFC East still goes through New England.
That is incorrect. The AFC East.
AFC East. AFC East. What did I say?
The NFC East may go through any number of teams at this point. Yes. Washington at this point. All right. Well, let's everybody sit back, buckle up. You got another 57 minutes of NFL picks here that we're going to give out to you. Tail us or fade us. The choice is yours, but we are excited to go ahead and start analyzing the games. Let's jump right in after we thank Chai Poker and VGK Pop Sockets. Okay, let's jump right in. New York Giants at Carolina. Current line, Carolina 6.5 points, over under 43.5. 62% of the action going in towards Carolina's 6.5 points.
Yeah, and this is a game where the line really hasn't moved much, and this is one of the things that I really like looking at is seeing how the bettors have moved. 62% of the money coming in on Carolina, minus 6.5. I'm still not sold on Eli at all, but Carolina hasn't shown me enough to think that they can make this game a blowout. I'm actually taking the Giants plus the points, and that scares the hell out of me that I'm actually taking the Giants and trusting Eli to keep this game close.
Yeah, let's actually, I want to, before we go up to Token Tony with his pick, let's update our standings.
Oh, yeah, we got to do that, don't we? So, we are, as everybody knows, we are in a contest, the three of us, trying to figure out picks every week, and we're kind of going through, keeping track of everything. You get 1 point if you get it right. You lose a point if you get it wrong. You're allowed one blind bet where you can kind of guess. You get 2 points if you get it right. You don't lose anything to get it wrong. and our lock of the week is a plus or minus 3 points for every game. So right now, I am in dead last with negative 1 point, which is not ideal. Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. That actually takes probably more talent than getting picks right. Tokens in second place, Fiddle in the middle at 5 points.
Ship it.
And unfortunately, our host is currently kicking the living shit out of us with 23 points.
It's like Nadam put him in a body bag.
Oh, hold on 1 second. Sorry, there's a little dirt on my shoulder.
It's bad. And not only that, but I've also been keeping track of how people are doing on their locks of the week. I'm currently 1-2. Token, you're 2-1. This motherfucker's perfect.
Yeah.
But you know what? I remember from last episode on our recap, I'm forced to take Raiders money line for my lock of the week this week.
That is correct. Yes.
So we'll pencil that one in. We'll talk about it when we get to it. All right, back to the New York Giants in Carolina, 6.5. Token, Tony.
All right, this one, neither team has really proven too much. I mean, Carolina's showing up and won a couple games and all that. They're coming fresh off their bye week. I think they'll be rested, well prepared. Give me Carolina minus 6.5 in this. The only wild card that I don't like in this matchup with the Giants getting 6.5 is Barkley, whether they can control the ball more, and Eli can open up his passing by that.
Yeah, I mean, Carolina's defense is stout. Saquon Barkley is obviously a giant X factor. He's been, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, they are 1-3, and he's got a touchdown in all 4 games. Could be incorrect about that, but I don't think I am. They are 1-3 against the spread. Excuse me, Carolina is 2-1. 2-1 against the spread as well. I like Carolina in this game. I'll take the 6.5, or I'll give the 6.5. I think this is a blowout. And then the New York Giants will spend the rest of the week having to listen to the fact that why didn't they take Sam Darnold over Saquon Barkley? Which they'll probably listen to over the rest of the year. So I'm on public side on this spot. I just don't think there's enough on offense through Eli Manning, and their defense is just average. I mean, they spend all that money on defense for what they got. It is very average in New York. I'm not crazy about a Carolina team, but I feel more confident when they're at home than they are on the road. So, yeah, give me the 6.5 with Carolina as well. All right, so we have Atlanta at Pittsburgh, and in my professional medical opinion, the loser of this game is done in their division. Does anyone disagree with me?
It would take a hell of a comeback out of that hole, but yes,
You mean done as in out of the playoffs, or done as in they are going to finish in the basement?
Well,
not
they can finish third. I mean, they're not going to make the playoffs.
They can make second. I mean, they can make second, maybe sneak in the playoffs, but very unlikely.
Okay, then, in that case, I agree with you.
Okay, they're out of the playoff picture.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
Sorry, I thought I didn't think I had to clear that up.
Well, I agree with that statement.
Don't we play football to make the playoffs?
Well,
no, we're talking about practice.
Right, but I mean, if you're saying that they're
playoffs.
done, if they're done in their division, meaning that you think they're going to finish last in their division, I'm not.
No, I mean
confident
that may not happen now that the Bucs have gone with Jameis Winston. If Atlanta loses this game, they may be just as terrible. I think if Pittsburgh loses this game, falls to 1-3-1, they start shopping Le'Veon more aggressively at this point. Anyways, let's talk about the game. Pittsburgh 3-point favorite at home. 58 is the live line at this point.
Yeah, and this is a total that's actually gone up about 2.5 points from opening, which is a little weird for me. And that's actually where I'm kind of leaning, is at the total. Atlanta, for as good as their offense should be, hasn't really impressed me as much as they should. And Pittsburgh can't figure out if they can score points or not. So I'm actually going under the total on this one. I'm taking the under 58.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, this is one of the highest totals I've seen since I've been.
It's been a while, yeah. Last week's total of 55 on Monday Night Football was one of the highest totals in a few years. Now we've got it opened up 55.5. It's been bet up 2.5 points at this point.
Yeah. The only game so far Atlanta's really shown up for was against New Orleans, and they put up 34 in a loss or something like that. And
pretty sure they won a game.
Yeah, but I mean, besides the other game that they won, they haven't really produced much on offense in 2 games.
What? They scored 37 and 36 points in 2 games. What do you mean they haven't put up offense?
No, in the other two.
Well, yeah, against the Eagles, that was an opening game. They had some red zone issues.
Yeah.
Go home, Token. You're drunk.
I need more coffee.
Yeah. No, they've put up 31, 37, and 36 points in their life. Their offense is not the problem at this point.
Okay.
Their defense, they've scored 116 points in 4 games. They've given up 124. That's the problem. That's the reason the total's high. Both these teams can play some offense. I agree with you. So what's your pick?
Fuck it, give me the Falcons plus the points.
Falcons plus the points. Spikes on the total. This will be my blind bet of the week because I took Atlanta to win the division in the beginning of the year, and I still don't think with a win well, it would be today if you're listening to this. With a win today, I don't think they're out of that division because, again, we think Carolina's going to win. They'll go to 3-1. We'll talk about New Orleans, another good team sitting at the top. Fitzmagic's over in Tampa. They'll probably fall by the wayside. At 2-3, I don't think they're in a huge deficit here. ATS, Pittsburgh's 0-2 at home. ATS, Atlanta's 0-1 on the road. Something's got to give here. My blind bet, I'm taking the Atlanta Falcons to win this game. Money line, straight up. So we'll see what happens on that one. Miami versus Cincinnati. Talk about a team who is turning Spike on his head at this point. I know his Red Rocket brother, he doesn't really trust him. But the guy's 3-1 against the spread. 59% of the money coming in on the Bengals. The line currently at -6, total 48. Miami coming off that drubbing by New England. Probably looks a little deflated, no pun intended, after that game. But they are still 3-1 at this point and 3-1 against the spread.
Yeah, and they're still a terrible 3-1 team, and New England pointed out that they are fatally flawed and probably not worth even looking at this point. I like the way that Cincinnati's playing. I especially like the way that their lines are playing, both offensive and defensive. And with Miami's, what's his name, the leading pass rusher there blowing his ACL when he was trying to avoid the sack on Derek Carr and avoid taking the penalty on the sack on Derek Carr and ended up missing the season because of it. Anyway, I'm taking Cincinnati -6. I like this game quite a bit. This is going to be one that I'm going to be focusing on watching now, especially that my Patriots have already played this week, so I can kind of sit back and watch football as a semi-interested fan and not an obsessive fan, which is going to be a nice change of pace for a Sunday morning. So yeah, this should be a good game, but yeah, I think Cincinnati wins this one pretty easily.
Yeah, this is kind of an interesting matchups that both teams are 3-1 coming into this game. Didn't think that would be very likely at the beginning of the season, but this game could mean a lot for the winner of this. I mean, they could either make a deep playoff attempt or just kind of fluke out of the playoffs. So I'll agree with you, Spike, on this. I think I'll take the Bengals -6.
Whew, then I really feel good about my pick right now. Because every time I go against you guys, it seems to be successful. I like the Dolphins. I don't think they're shattered too much by this at this point. 6 points is a lot of points to give up in the NFL. I understand it's a road game. So what they're basically saying is that this is essentially a 3-point game, which is exactly what I think Miami can keep it in the range of. I think Cincinnati's going to have trouble. I mean, the secondary for Miami plays a lot better than a lot of people give them credit for. I'm going to go with Miami plus the 6. I think they might actually win this game, but I'm not ballsy enough to take that. Give me the 6 points on the road. I think Cincinnati probably wins this game by 2 or 3. All right, this is the game I had the most difficulty actually trying to take a side or make a pick on, because I see this game going in 37 different directions, and that's Jacksonville and Kansas City. You have all the talk between Tyreek Hill and Jalen Ramsey this week about who can cover who can't cover who. You got Patrick Mahomes throwing balls with his left hand last week. I mean, how do you stop the guy that's ampa-fucking-dexterous? And the Kansas City Chiefs are a 3-point favorite at this spot, which tells me essentially it's a pick 'em with the home field advantage leading toward the Chiefs. 56% of the action is going toward the Chiefs in that spot. Total right now, live 49 points.
Yeah, and this is just sort of a weird game for me. I've been kind of riding Kansas City and feeling pretty good about it in each game, although I kind of got hosed this past Monday night because us taking the bet so early gave me Kansas City minus, I think, 4.5, and then the line moved to 3.5, and that 1 point difference was enough to give me the loss instead of the win on that bet.
It happens.
I understand that's Vegas, but this is a game where we know what we get out of Kansas City. This is a team that has an amazing offense and kind of a terrible defense, but they're winning games because they're putting up as many points as humanly possible in games. I don't know what to make of Jacksonville. They beat up on a pretty bad Patriots team, and then the Tennessee game, the total was, 15 points in that one? 9-6 is how it ended. So because I can't figure out what we're going to get out of Jacksonville, I'm going to take Kansas City minus the points in this one and just kind of keep riding with the Chiefs and see if they can keep it up.
They are 4-0 against the spread.
Yeah, I think they improved to 5-0. Give me the Chiefs minus the points. I'll lay the favorite on this one. I think the only thing that might make the big difference is offensive penalties for the Chiefs. If they can keep those to a minimum, they should be in good shape. That's kind of what hurt them against Denver last week, but they still came through, so...
Yeah, usually in this spot I like to take, in a spot where I'm not really 100% sure of where I want to lean, I like to look at the three main factors. You have quarterback, you have O-line, you have D-line. Obviously, we're probably all in agreement that Patrick Mahomes is the better quarterback, even though my affinity for Blake Bortles is pretty well known on this show.
You and the idiot from the show The Good Place, so yeah, you're in good company with that one.
Who is that?
I can't even think of the character's name, but he's from Jacksonville, and all he talks about ever is Blake Bortles.
That's pretty funny. He must be a good man. I think the offensive line in Jacksonville's better, and I think the defensive line for Jacksonville's better. 2 out of 3, even with Mahomes, I'll take the 3 points, and I'll take the Jacksonville Jaguars. All right, let's move into playoff contender Baltimore Ravens. At 1-1 game in 2 years, Cleveland Browns maybe should have won the other game last week, but line opened up pick'em. Immediately got fired up to 3 in favor of Baltimore. Baltimore is now a currently 3-point favorite live with a total of 45.5.
Yeah, and I think this is kind of a good spot for Cleveland to prove themselves. This is a team that now that I was really hoping I could think of his name by the time I got to when I was supposed to say it there.
Ooh,
the quarterback.
Baker Mayfield?
That's the one. Fucking hell. Now that Baker Mayfield's kind of hitting his stride, I want to see if Cleveland is not for real this year, but has the potential to be real in the future. I'm actually taking the Browns plus the points in this one.
I'm agreeing with you on this one, Spike, as well. I think Baker is going to try and prove what he's made of, and Baltimore with Flacco, I think Flacco's the thing of the past now. I think it's time to move on.
Flacco's the thing of the past. They're 3-1. Their only loss was to division-leading Cincinnati. You guys just underestimate these playoff contending quarterbacks who have won Super Bowls. Give me Flacco and the Ravens minus the 3 points. This line should be... I feel like there's a mismatch in this line, and maybe the book's tricking me, and you guys might be right, but
it's a booby trap game.
It feels like it maybe, but I'm going to take Baltimore, their receivers. I think their defense is better. I think Baltimore has the better quarterback. Baltimore has the better defensive line. Give me Baltimore minus the 3 points. I wish I would have caught it at Pick'em. I tell you that. Tennessee at Buffalo, a game that may have less viewers than the number of points Buffalo scored this year. Tennessee is currently a 5.5-point favorite. 61% of the action headed that way. 3-1, 1-1 on the road, 3-1 against the spread versus 1-3, 0-1 at home, and 1-3 against the spread Buffalo Bills. We know the one win that they had, a little bit fluky. And as much as I'm aboard a team like Tennessee, I like the way that they play defense, I like the way they run the ball, and I like the way they're able to get gritty wins, as you saw last week. I'm not so sure I like this line.
Yeah, this one's a very tough line in my mind. It's like right on that number that you hate.
5.5?
Yeah. I hate the number 5.5. Everything about it just screams bad for a home team to be a dog of 5.5. Me, personally, I'm going to avoid taking a line on this one and take the total.
Total's currently live at 40.
Yep, I like the under in that situation. I think both defenses are capable of keeping the opponents to field goal attempts and maybe 1 or 2 touchdowns total for the whole game. And
well, if we get a lot of field goal attempts, that'll be good for my kicker. Got a Ryan Suckup.
Yeah, that would work out well for you. I don't know. I'm kind of digging Tennessee in this spot. I think that over the last couple of games, not only are they 3-1 overall in the NFL, but they're also 3-1 against the spread. And I'm still not sold on the former University of Wyoming quarterback there, whose name I'm not even going to bother saying anymore because it's just not worth it.
Did he lose to UNLV?
He may have lost to UNLV in his college career, yes. Give me Tennessee minus the 5.5.
All right, yeah, you're right, Token. This 5.5 points spread is usually a weird one because most of the totals are usually the magic numbers are 3 and 7. A 5.5 literally sits almost right in between it. Buffalo with a home game. I think LaShawn McCoy should be coming back. I won't play the caveat game. I'll err on the side that he is coming back. I think he can pace the offense at home. It's starting to get cold. Tennessee's got to go up there fresh off of expending all of their energy to beat Philadelphia. I'll say they squeak out of Buffalo with a narrow 2 to 3 point victory. So give me Buffalo plus the points in that spot. Another clunker of a game, in my opinion. You got the rookie Sam Darnold and the Jets hosting Denver, who everybody's really looking at what Denver was able to do against Kansas City. They still didn't win, but they were able to contend against the Chiefs, who is everybody's darling at this point. Current line, Denver -1, total 42.5. 65% of the money heading the Broncos' way as the road favorite. Spike.
Yeah, nothing about this game really blows my skirt up. There's just,
It's a cute skirt.
Yeah, well, it's a bad Denver team, even at 2-2. Even in the 2 wins, they haven't looked great. Sam Darnold looked amazing week 1 and has looked like a Jets quarterback in the rest of the weeks. So I'm not happy about any of this. I'm taking Denver minus the 1 just because I think that's the most logical choice and it just feels right at this point. But I don't know. This is not going to be something I'm going to seek out to watch. I think I'm going to instead bury my face in one of the books I have to read for homework this week.
Now, I understand you're taking the logical choice in this spot. Denver is 2-2.
Yeah.
And obviously we know the loss of the Chiefs, but their only other road game was against the Ravens where they got torched. Now, I understand Ravens are a better team than the Jets, but do we see a spot right here where the Jets can actually be valuable in a spot where they're at home, they're facing a team that doesn't play well on the road, they don't have to do too much in the sense of opening up the playbook in the spot for Sam Darnold? You see no value in the Jets here at this spot?
No, because I still think you're relying too heavily on Sam Darnold to beat Case Keenum, and I don't think that he has the ability to do that.
Okay.
It's just that simple for me.
I'm not saying you're wrong.
It's
no rebuttal.
Matchup. It's the matchup for the quarterbacks for me, and I can't trust Sam Darnold to do what he did against Detroit, who had brand new coach, brand new scheme, brand new everything about them. Whereas Denver is really just getting that quarterback now in his 5th game in this system ready to go, and I think Denver's the better play here.
I actually just my input here, my 2 cents before I turn it over to you, Token, is I've actually been watching a few of the Jets games, and even though they got throttled by Jacksonville, Darnold, in my opinion, of all the quarterbacks, including Baker Mayfield, has looked the most consistently better week to week. Mayfield, to me, seems all over the place. And maybe that had been a product of the Raiders-Browns game just being what it was. Rosen, we've only got one game. So I can't really give a lot of that. You can't really put a lot of stock into that. So to me, Darnold's really seemed like the guy that's been consistent. And, I mean, last 10 home games, Jets are 8-2 against the spread, 5-1 last 6 after allowing 30 or more in the last game. So, not that any of that means anything to you. I'm just kind of giving my rebuttal to maybe the Jets have a chance here.
I think they have a chance in my mind. I mean, but I agree with Spike on this. I'm actually going to use your approach on this, Aaron. Who has the better quarterback? Who has the better O-line? Who has the better D-line in this spot? And I think Denver's got 2 out of 3 for sure, if not 3 out of 3.
Okay, I would disagree with you on the quarterbacks.
Okay,
but that's fair. That's your own personal.
I
thought
you would say that too, but yeah.
I think the offensive line and the Jets and the Broncos are probably a wash too. But yeah, no, I don't downplay that system because I think you're right. In a situation like this, 1 point spread, both teams aren't very good. Both teams are scoring around 22 points a game. Both teams are giving up around 23 points a game. Yeah. So you're right. I mean,
it's right around that total number as well as that coin flip kind of situation with the spread.
Yeah, I mean, without home field advantage, this really shows a Denver -2. So I can see what you're talking about. So who's your pick?
Give me the Broncos -1.
Broncos -1? All right, with all that being said, I have no interest in either side on this one. I think both teams are good. They're averaging about, I think both teams are good for about their average, 22 points, somewhere around there. I see the score being 24-21, 27-23, somewhere around there. I'm going to take the over 42 at this spot. So that's where I land after all that shit I just talked. Green Bay at Detroit. Token Tony, your Lions are favored by a 1 whole point. The over-under is 51. What in God's name is going on? Is hell freezing over? When's the last time the Detroit Lions were favored over the Green Bay Packers?
Last time Rodgers didn't play.
He's playing now.
I know. Yeah, it's been a good while since we've been favored, even at home, against Green Bay. Yeah, I think hell's freezing over or something's wrong. Believe it or not, there is a city in Michigan called Hell as well.
Yes, I am aware.
Yeah. This one, I think if you flip a coin, it might be something out of How I Met Your Mother, and the coin would fall sideways and stand up.
Straight up?
Yep. I literally don't know what to pick on this game, what to think.
I'm sorry I led with you then.
Yeah.
I really thought of all the games in this slate, this would be the one you were, like, ready to roll.
There is one thing I like about this one.
Care to share?
lot of defensive injuries on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
The total is going down, in fact. It's opened at 54.5. It's down to 51. Usually I like to go against where the money's coming in. And it's looking like it's going on the under on. That's why it's being driven down. Give me the over 51. I think both teams are capable of scoring 30+, and that could be a logical case. I mean, as of what I heard earlier, Green Bay wide receiver Cobb is going to be out. But
yeah, it looks like Adams is going to play, but I believe Allison and Cobb will be out. So Rodgers is going to have Jimmy Graham and Devontae Adams, which, no disrespect, that's probably more than enough for Rodgers. But Rodgers seems hurt. I mean, as much as I tried to, call him out, there's something wrong with him.
Yeah, and I will preface all this by saying I actually picked this game the other way when I made my picks, and I just now switched it to the line that I'm actually taking. I agree with Token that there's too many injuries on either side. But I think what this is going to come down to is Matt Patricia being able to game plan the defense and put together a scheme, and he just so happens to be going against somebody that's essentially Tom Brady. So Patricia being able to put together a game plan against a quarterback with whom he is very familiar, I think is going to give Detroit a major advantage of this. And with Rodgers being hurt, that's going to limit his options even more, his wide receivers being out. This to me screams Detroit taking I was going to say Detroit in an upset, but apparently they're favored by one. It's fucking baffling. So I'll take Detroit minus the 1.
Yeah, that's a good analysis of talking about Coach Patricia. Basically game planning for a guy he scrimmaged against for 10 plus years. I think the X factor in this game right now is Kerryon Johnson, because the Packers are bad on the road. They have been for a number of years, and Rodgers is hurt, and his weapons are now limited. Their defense isn't very good, and I think everything about the Lions is healthy. Their offensive line is playing well. They're improved from last year. As long as your boy what the fuck does he wear? What's number Stafford wear?
9.
8? 9? As long as number 9 throws the ball to people in, what do you wear at home? Blue?
Usually,
as long as he doesn't throw to green jerseys.
on the road last week, we were running some funky silver kind of shit.
I think you give the ball to a steady dose of Kerryon Johnson and LeGarrette Blount in this game. Control the clock, control the game. And although I'm not touching the total, I think by controlling the game they keep it under. But I think that I also took the Lions as well. -1. I think they win this game 21-17. I don't see the Packers on the road being able to just air it out.
Fair enough. What was I going to say here?
I don't know.
Oh, prediction for this game.
Pain.
Well, always pain.
Painful to watch.
Always pain watching the Lions and being a Lions fan. Kerryon Johnson, second time this year he rushes for over 100 yards.
Oh.
Prediction.
Hot take. Actually, do we have a line on William Hill? Oh, William Hill's been down all day.
No,
it's back up, but I don't know if they have a...
Yeah, I was going to say, if they have a prop bet on Kerryon Johnson, let's see what the actual line is.
Yeah, because that would be an interesting one. I'm curious to know, the prop bet on Kerryon Johnson, or just if there's any prop bets in Detroit, the Green Bay game. I know they have the first halves and stuff like that, which, by the way...
sometimes they do.
You can add first halves to these picks, too, by the way.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Well, because, the logic was, if we're taking favorites on a money line in some of these picks, it's essentially saying any legitimate bet should be fair game for our contest, so... Why not put a first half line on there?
What do we got? Anything?
Pulling it up right now.
Good Lord, you're come on.
Well, William Hill's still acting slow, but
and this doesn't bode well because I was going to say start with Tony on the next game too. So
it has passing yards for Rodgers as well as Stafford.
All right. Well, let's set a line. He wants to set 100.
So let's give him a couple of yards. Let's say
103.5.
Oh, I wasn't gonna. I was gonna say 93.5. I was gonna go.
Okay, well, actually,
give him a little breathing room. Then.
Well, he's gonna take the over. So why don't we set the line more realistic at
98.5?
No, we'll set the line realistic 78 yards.
78. Okay.
Okay.
He's got the over. Obviously, he's made his bold statement.
Yeah.
I like it too.
Yeah, but I kind of like being a contrarian more. Give me the under.
Okay. And you know what? The thing is even me saying that they're going to pace the game, he may get 75 yards, but if he can control the clock with 24 carries, it may still be a successful day, even though 75 yards on the ground. Sometimes your running game can be successful without having a 200 yards cumulative.
Yeah.
All right, next game, Oakland, the Raiders at LA Chargers, or as Spike likes to call them, the Clippers. This is essentially, I'm guessing, but I'm probably not guessing, it's essentially a home game for the Raiders.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Inside the StubHub Center, the soccer field. when the Raiders and the Clippers take the pitch. You wanted Token to start this one?
Yeah, I want Token just because you were locked in on your Oakland money line.
Yeah, I don't have to say anything. I'm locked in on Oakland. I made that bet last week.
Yeah.
So
I didn't even know who they played, and I made that bet.
Yeah, it's virtually a home game for more Oakland than it is for the Chargers. Oakland's coming fresh off that win against the Browns.
There may have been wind, too.
Yeah. Got some wind for you guys here shortly.
Oh, God.
how old are we? Jesus Christ.
In our 30s.
I was still laughing at fart jokes.
Fart jokes.
I think Chargers are the better team. I'm not sure if they'll cover the 5, but I'll still go with it. I think Rivers can control this game and potentially win by a score or two, so.
I still got Oakland money line. So.
Yeah, so because you locked in Oakland money line and you were so sure that Oakland is better than what they're showing, their 1-3 record would show.
They barely beat the Browns.
Yes, plus we've got Phillip Rivers, quote unquote, at home. I'm actually doing my lock of the week on the opposite side. I'm taking the Chargers money line. Lock of the week. One of us is losing 3 points on this game, and I'm feeling better about my Chargers than I am about your Raiders. So
the question I have is, Token.
Yeah.
If Oakland wins this game, will we see Spike ever again?
He'll be on suicide watch.
I think he might be on suicide. We'll find him at the top of T-Mobile Arena going,
Well, at least
fucking Phillip Rivers!
At least the Patriots aren't playing tomorrow, so that won't push them over the edge.
that is true.
It's true, but this one might.
Yeah.
Oh, God, this would be the most juiciest. I don't even want the 3 points. I just want you to grovel at my feet that I blindly bet Oakland, not knowing who they play, on the money line, and they're on the road. That's going to feel good.
Yeah, it's pretty
I'll still
much
take the
all
3
game.
points, though. All right, so we've got Minnesota at Philadelphia. Another game where I'll ask you this. You can look at both teams. The loser of this game is in deep shit, yes?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And this is the kind of game where it feels like Philadelphia is, I don't want to say in must-win mode, but I think they're going to be so hyped up that they're going to be prone to maybe making more mistakes. I don't know, something about this game just doesn't smell right to me. And the more I looked at it, the more I kind of gleaned some of the information from this thing. I kept going with the Minnesota plus the 3. I don't have anything other than I feel like Minnesota plus the 3 is the right play in this spot. So, I don't know, maybe.
I mean, this is the game that Vegas doesn't know what's going to happen. Money's coming in almost virtually even on both sides, with Philly getting just a slight more money in. 3's the right number for a neutral, exact same teams going at it with one at home instead of a neutral site. I'm going to make this as a lock of my week. I'm going to take the Vikings plus the points. I think they need this game more than Philly does.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I think Philly does not need this game, or actually does not need this game essentially as much as Minnesota does, because Minnesota can't fall to 1-3-1. The only reason I would say a little bit of Minnesota would, the only reason the silver lining I would say with Minnesota being okay if they fall to 1-3-1, they have the tie with Green Bay, and they haven't played either of the other two teams, so they get to directly face those teams. This is a different scenario than like Atlanta. I think Atlanta goes to 1-4. They've already lost to the Saints. That's a problem.
Yeah.
Philadelphia the same way. If they lose this game, go to 2-3. I don't think they're too far crushed because the Giants are bad. Dallas is average. They still got to play both of them, and the team they're looking up at, Washington, who may be 3-2 after the game at New Orleans. They're only realistically one game back at that spot. They still got 2 games against Washington. I actually, now that I do a little bit more of a thought process, I don't think either of these teams is in as deep of shit as I thought initially before I chronicled this game. Minnesota, to me, would probably be in the deeper hole. That being said, I'm going to put them even deeper into the hole. I'm going to take Philadelphia, but just on the money line. I think this game is close. I'm going to say that Philadelphia is behind going into the final field goal, and they kick a game-winning field goal to win by 1 or 2 points. So I don't like the 3 because I think Minnesota could just as easily have a revenge factor in this game, especially with what happened to them in the NFC Championship. This is the game I think Carson Wentz starts to look normal again.
Okay.
He hasn't looked himself in the last 2. The game in the rain against the Colts, I'll give him a little benefit of the doubt. He looked a little timid against the Titans defense. He's facing another, what we thought was a good defense. I still believe in the Minnesota defense, even after the showings against Buffalo and the Rams. So, yeah, this is a close game. I'll err on the side of Philadelphia's money line in this spot, just because I don't want to take the point, or I don't want to give the points. So, all right, we've got L.A., the Rams, the aforementioned Rams, going to Seattle. Line is currently L.A. minus 7.5, getting 65% of the action. The Rams are 4-0, 3-1 against the spread. We've got the Seattle Seahawks 2-2, 1-2 against the spread. Everything about this trends towards L.A. The offense is sexy. The coordinator, or the new coach who was a coordinator, is on fire. Jared Goff can do no wrong. Todd Gurley's the number 1 running back. Seattle's got Russell Wilson, who can't do everything by himself. Their running backs are by committee. Their first-round pick has so far been a bust in Rashad Penny. Legion of Boom is gone. KJ Wright's hurt. Earl Thomas is hurt. He's flipping his finger at the sideline. Michael Kendricks, the insider trading guy, is now suspended. Nothing isn't going in Seattle's favor.
And you forgot the fact that their number 1 weapon, the tight end Will Dissly, is
also out for the year.
Now hurt. So, yeah, this to me is Rams in a laugher. I'm not even going to bother giving analysis. Give me the minus 7.5, whatever the fuck it is. Just I'm taking the Rams no matter what.
Yeah, I'm absolutely taking the Rams in this one. I could see them winning by 3 touchdowns even. The only thing that scares me is they play in Seattle, but whatever. Rams minus the points.
This, to me, feels like the classic sportsbook trap.
It does, but
for some reason, I believe in Pete Carroll, I believe in Russell Wilson, and I believe in the home field. I have no real analysis because of everything I just said. Everything is coming up gangbusters for the LA Rams. And I think the LA Rams win this game by exactly 7 points, and I get the hook. I think this game is 30-23. I get lucky. I catch the hook. Seattle plus 7.5. No other analysis, no other reason. I think so much more money is going to. This line may be up to 9 by the time the game lifts off. But I'll take it at 7.5. I'll pray the hook, and I think Seattle can keep this in the game. All right, so we have the next game is Arizona at San Francisco. I don't even really want to talk about this game.
Yeah. This is going to be ugly, sloppy nonsense.
But it is an NFL game that is played on Sunday. San Francisco's a 3-point favorite right now, but 56% of the action's going on the dog in the Cardinals. I guess there's more belief in Josh Rosen than there is in C.J. Beathard. Total 40.5.
This is the kind of game where this is the reason that we invented the blind bet, even though I'm not using it on this game. This is just kind of say, fuck it, throw some money at it, see what happens. I'm going against the public. I'm taking San Francisco minus the 3. I have absolutely no reason for it. Just San Francisco minus the 3.
Fair enough. I'm actually going to use my blind bet on this one.
Yep.
I'm taking San Francisco as well. I honestly don't know what to expect in this game. I could see Arizona keeping it close. I could see San Francisco winning by a touchdown, something like that. I could see just the whole stadium exploding and...
How do you see these things? Those are weird visions.
Alien invasions coming down, attacking the whole
Sounds like a fucked up Nick Cage movie.
Are you done?
Yeah.
Okay.
On that note, I'm done now.
I agree with you. There's not a lot really to preview in this game. I will take the better defense, which is Arizona. I will take a semi-polished quarterback, which I think Josh Rosen looked in his first start. I will take the better running back, which is David Johnson. And I will take the better against the spread record, which is 2-2 versus 1-3. So I will take Arizona plus the 3 points.
Has Arizona actually figured out how to properly use David Johnson
They
yet?
did last week.
Okay.
Yeah, they did. You missed that.
Yeah, well, why the fuck would I watch an Arizona game? They're terrible.
Maybe we should all sit down for a brewski and watch this game. No? No takers? All right, cool.
Yeah.
All right, Dallas at Houston. It is the Sunday night football matchup, the Battle of Texas. We have 1-3 Texans who got their first win because Frank Reich just decided he was allergic to victory. And we have Dallas who's 2-2, fresh off of a game-winning field goal against the Detroit Lions. Houston, 3-point favorite in this spot, virtually even on the action. 45.5 is the total. Spikage.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Dallas's running game, if it works, is enough to keep them in this game. Truth be told, I was so high on Houston to start the year, and they have let me down consistently that I can't trust putting money on them. I'm actually I'm taking Dallas plus the 3.5.
Oh, he just bought himself a half point.
Yeah,
It seems like it.
well, what the hell?
I see 3.
I got 3.
Where'd I get the half from then? Hang on.
Your imagination.
Oh, it opened at 3.5. That's what I was looking at.
I don't see that either.
I see it opening at 3.
I'm on Vegas Insider. It says open
I'm
at 3.5.
Covers.
All right, Covers got open at 3, still at 3. So you get 3 points. You still want
Hang on,
Dallas?
so this is where. So I'm looking at Vegas Insider. Yeah, I'll take the 3. I don't care. Whatever. But I'm looking at Insider. It said open at 3.5, consensus 3, and then every line they list says 3.5.
Consensus.
Check page 2.
3.
I mean, it's Westgate, MGM, William Hill, Wynn, CG Technology,
Fuck William Hill.
Stations, and Bet Online, all at 3.5. But it says the consensus is 3.
Weird.
Interesting.
But yeah, 3's fine. Whatever. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, I think this game comes down to how it did last week for Dallas, like a game-ending field goal. This way, I think the Texans come ahead. Give me Houston, but on the money line, though.
I think Dallas is finally kind of feeling good with themselves at this point. After the win, they're back to 2-2. I believe they have one game up in the division with the Giants. And although they are 1-3 against the spread, I do believe that they have. This is going to sound crazy. I do believe they have better options at the skill positions, minus DeAndre Hopkins.
Fair. All right.
I believe right now in one game, I would take Dak Prescott over Deshaun Watson. I know, hot take alert. So, and this is that one game because I don't think I'd take Dak Prescott in a lot of spots.
Yeah.
So I will roll Cowboys money line. Cowboys are going to win this game. I actually think they're going to win this game by 10 points.
Wow.
So,
All right.
and I think that puts Houston in a really big hole because I think Houston should be 0-4, and they just haven't shown me anything offensively or defensively that shows me that they, even in their home stadium, can beat an opponent of equal or greater value than them.
Yeah, well, and not just that, J.J. Watt's overdue for an injury at this point. So
Yeah.
we know that they're not going to get better as the season goes on.
Yeah, it's time to fake an injury.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he fakes them. I think he really gets them.
Well, I'm just using the quote from the internship.
Okay.
It's time to fake an injury.
All right, well, we got our last game of the night, or of our slate. Washington at New Orleans inside the Superdome. Current line, New Orleans -6, total 52.5. That's not a pick.
Yeah. No, but that's the attitude of a lot of people watching Monday night games with these kind of not great matchups.
What are you talking about? Last night's matchup was amazing. Or last week's matchup was amazing.
Yeah, last week's was, but how many bad Monday night games have there been in the last, 5 years? They've been
Browns,
pretty wretched.
Jets, shit like that, and Detroit and Chicago or shit like that. I think this is a good matchup with the spread how it is. Washington with AP, New Orleans with Drew Brees, and Kamara. 6 is like that perfect number where you want to just blow your brains in. Give me the Saints -6.
We do not have a consensus pick this week.
All right.
Yeah, that was one where I couldn't figure out
What side I was taking?
Well, that too, but I couldn't figure out which side to go on air, and it's just, I know New Orleans can put up points in gangbusters when they want to sometimes, but I think you're right. I think AP is going to be the X factor in this game, especially his ability to control the clock like all teams do with a running game. I took Washington plus the 6 in this one. I don't feel great about it, but Alex Smith is a game manager rather than him trying to force the issue and make mistakes with Adrian Peterson. I like that plus 6 line.
Fair enough. I could see this game going to overtime and New Orleans getting a touchdown. This game could just be a complete push as well. So,
yeah, I think actually the catalyst or the X factor in this game is Washington's defense right now. They're second in points allowed, third in passing yards, and third in total yards against an offense that just literally has just an octopus, 8 tentacles worth of skill position players. You got Michael Thomas, Alvin Kamara, Mark Ingram's back. There's so many different weapons that Drew Brees has, but I think Drew Brees has lost a step, and he showed that last week. I don't know if any of you guys watched the New York Giants-Saints game.
A little, yeah.
And you asked about why Taysom Hill was in the game, doing funny things.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I did see a little bit of that.
He has lost a step. And I wouldn't take him down to the peg of when Manning was throwing literally wet noodles in Denver the last season, even though they won the Super Bowl. But Drew Brees is not going to be... Drew Brees can't be counted on to outscore you anymore. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Without Alvin Kamara. So I think the Redskins' game plan, because they were off last week, for 14 straight days has been shut down Alvin and Mark Ingram, which obviously Alvin Kamara, that's easier said than done. I think Drew Brees will get the record. Kudos to him. He needs 201 yards to pass Peyton Manning for most yards all time. He will get there, in my opinion. But I believe while they will win, they will only win by 3 or 4. So give me the Redskins plus 6 in this spot. I think coming off the bye, got a good quarterback, running back who may be looking for revenge here in this spot, and Adrian Peterson. Maybe not good enough for a victory, but probably good enough for a cover. And that's all I really care about most times when I'm betting football. All right. Well, let's put a prop bet on this one, too. You talked about Adrian Peterson. Let's put a rushing total on his, like we did Kerryon Johnson.
Okay. So
I'm going to set the bar at...
I think 118 is a good number.
What the fuck? I wish you worked in a sports book. I'm going to set the bar at 68 yards.
Ooh.
118, you fucking moron.
And we're just saying rushing yards, right? Not all-purpose.
Yeah, 118 could be all-purpose yards.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But I still don't think that's an over. 68 rushing yards.
68 rushing yards.
Let me put it to you this way. Kareem Hunt's total last week on Monday Night Football was 61. 118.
Yeah. I'll take the over.
168?
Yeah, 168.
No, on 68. Over on 68?
Yeah, over 68.
Well, obviously, you've got the over since you're saying 118. I'm going to take the over as well. So that was anticlimactic.
Yeah, that was kind of worthless.
I'll take the under on 118, though.
Yeah, no, I definitely would, too.
All right, well, let's scale back to all the games. Matchups, players, storylines. what do you want to see this week?
This is kind of a week where I want to see what some of the rookie quarterbacks can do. I've been talking shit about Allen, about Darnold, and about Rosen pretty regularly here and with anybody that will listen. If they can show me something, then I want to be proven wrong because I want to see good young quarterbacks do well. So if they can put together good games this week, I think it'll make the league more fun to watch than it has been, because let's face it, this league has become kind of painful to watch with all of the flags, all of the distractions, everything else. I want to see talent rise to the top, and I want to see more of it in this league, not less.
But you.
What was the question again? Sorry.
What do you want to see tomorrow or today? That's all I really asked.
I want to see mayhem. I want to see the best outcome for the closest division races.
What does that mean? We're in week 5. They're all close.
Well, no, but all the unbeaten teams going down. All the winless teams are the ones that are lower in the division, all winning.
I think everybody's got to win, if I'm not mistaken, except for Arizona, correct?
I believe so.
So you picked San Francisco, but you want to see Arizona win.
I mean, it'd be interesting to see it on the slate of the season to come.
You made me laugh. All right, well, I don't know what I want to see. I want to see Seattle beat LA, I can tell you that. But it's not going to happen, Jesus. I know. I want to see Oakland win by 10+.
Yeah, no, I figured that one was coming.
But I agree with you. I want to see the rookie quarterbacks develop. And the only one I've really seen steadily develop, and I even said in the preseason, is Sam Darnold. Yes, they're 1-3. Yes, he looked the reason that everybody's saying, like what you're saying, is because he looked so spectacular in Detroit in week 1 that the other games he has looked like a rookie quarterback. And that's okay. And I think him looking to progress week to week, he's going to get wins that he's not supposed to get, and I think this week may be one of those. Baker Mayfield, to me, in 2 games, he's got happy feet. He's all over the board. One game he's the savior, 201 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. Then the next game he has, 2 touchdowns and 4 turnovers.
Yeah.
He's all over the board right now, and that's okay. Josh Allen, I haven't watched enough to really know. The only game we really have information on is the fact that he turned Minnesota upside down based on short fields. So there's not a lot on him. I think he can probably at home get a good base under his feet, because this is, I believe, is his first start at home. They were in Minnesota, then they were in Green Bay. Now he's at home for his first start at home. So if LaShawn McCoy comes back, hopefully he'll have a back who can pace the offense between McCoy and Chris Ivory. And I really want to see that Atlanta and Pittsburgh game. That's the one that really interests me a lot this week. Any bold predictions? We got a couple minutes here. Any bold predictions for a player? Any bold predictions for a team?
Go ahead with that one, Spike.
Yeah, no, I mean, maybe the only thing I can really go out on the limb and say is that Eli doesn't throw 17 interceptions this week, and actually,
a bolder prediction would have been that he did throw 17 interceptions.
I don't know. There are good storylines this week, but there's not enough. I think you're right that Atlanta-Pittsburgh is probably the most interesting of the games being played, especially in the early slate. I want to see the Rams in Seattle just because watching the Rams is kind of amazing at this point, because they are such a complete team. Trying to find weaknesses is going to be difficult. So let's say bold prediction, Jared Goff solidifies MVP for the year this week.
Wow.
Interesting. Yeah, like you said, the most by far interesting matchup this week, of course, is the Falcons-Eagles.
That'd be neat. They played. How about Falcons-Steelers?
Oh, yeah, that's what I meant. Oh, yeah, all the eyes will be on that one. I don't know, it'll be interesting to see Breeze chase that Peyton Manning record and
took the words right out of my mouth.
Yeah. Get that sweet number one spot for passing yards for a career. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see the Rams just destroy the Saints, or not the Saints, but the.
Do you know who's playing this?
We need caffeine.
Do you know who's playing this week?
Stat.
All right. Well, we've
Caffeine
only got a
in the
couple
studio.
seconds left. I want to thank the sponsors: 12-ounce Sports Radio, VGK Pop Sockets, and ChaiPoker.com. We got a couple seconds left. My bold prediction for the week is there will only be one undefeated team left in the NFL after this Sunday. So we appreciate you listening in. Good luck on your bets, and we'll see you next time.